8. So we've taken quite a bit of time to work on this side piece, get it in place, start to kind of form more of this side of the face right in here. We're making progress. Listen, I'm shamelessly dropping all of these names of people because not only do I admire them, but hey, maybe they'll take a look at my work and like it or comment, all right? Good critique is always a good thing, constructive criticism, and, you know, hey, who wouldn't like someone like Rick Baker or Jordu Shell or, you know, any of those, Steve Neal, any of those people to comment on their work, right? So, whoa, I lost it. See how this piece kind of flips out a little bit? I don't know if you can see that. This piece kind of hugs a little closer here. This piece kind of flips out. I kind of want to do something about that. And I know one way I can do that is it's a sewing technique called, I'm going to call it a pleat, okay? And I'm simply going to go right in here and I'm going to cut this. I'm not going to cut it big. I'm just going to cut a tiny triangle out of it, okay? I'm going to set that aside like my scraps, and then I'm going to glue that together. You see, can you see what that does? Can you see it there? It forces this to curve in. And if I wanted to, I could put a second one in up a little ways, maybe right in here. Maybe not as big, but just real subtle. Could put one in right there. And this is going to force this foam to curve in more, okay? All right. And I'm just going to do this with hot glue. You could do it with latex. You could do it with barge cement, whatever it is that you have laying around your house, right? Obviously, some of these things you're not going to have, okay? I understand that. There's going to be somebody out there that's going to say, well, Jonathan, I don't have a bunch of foam laying around my house, and I don't have barge cement, and all of those things. Okay, well, use a hot glue gun. Use rubber cement where you can do the same process we're doing with the latex. Hopefully you can have some latex. It's not that expensive. Sometimes you can find it on sale. This bottle of what I bought was on sale at the hobby store. If you have access to Reynolds or Smooth On or a company like that, you can buy it in bulk. It's even cheaper, less expensive. It won't be as concentrated as this, but you can get it from them. They do not ship in the winter months. In the winter months, you don't want the latex to freeze. Keep your latex out of a freezing environment. Hopefully you're not living in a freezing environment. And so they won't ship in the winter months. So if you have a project, you know, you can you can plan ahead. Okay? Somebody else I admire greatly, who I just know from chatting back and forth, I would call an acquaintance, is a gentleman named Lee Hurley. You can find him on Facebook at Hurley FX, and he has done some fabulous stuff. He does sculpts and masks with silicone. He's got a fabulous Groot costume that he made. He's got pictures with James Gunn. You know, he came back after that and did a fabulous, wonderful Thanos costume. You know, those types of individuals that work really hard and put in the time and the effort, you know, I admire those people immensely. And, you know, what I do is completely different in regards to some of those people, but it's still in the world of makers, correct? And, you know, growing up, I didn't know that phrase. I didn't know the phrase makers. I just knew that I like to make stuff, right? That's always what I've loved to do, make stuff. And so, all right. So I don't know if you can see a lot of difference there, but we did curve that in just a little bit. We also brought that lower edge up some, and so I'm going to stop fooling around for that. At the moment, I've got a little piece here that's drying. I'm going to put in right here, and I have a little piece here that's drying that I'm going to put right here at the tip of the nose. I'm going to put this piece in place and then I'll put this piece in place and then start filling in along this edge. And I'm not really happy with exactly the way this brow is. I want to kind of indent this a little bit, give him a little bit of a furrowed brow. I've got to think about that. I want to clean up around the eyes a little bit better than they are. And yeah, all right. So let's keep working. That latex that's down here needs to dry up a little bit better before it will start adhering. This is starting to adhere well right in here. sometimes the changes that you make are very drastic and very obvious. And like this piece here, go quick, right? And sometimes the changes that you make are very little and very subtle, right? But over time, those things build up layers and add depth and character to your build, okay? Yeah, I know some of you are saying, well, why don't you just add one big piece at a time and do X? Well, you could do that. You could take and cut this whole section out of one big piece of foam, right? You could block it out. You could draw it on the foam. What do I mean by that? So, you know, it's like doing wood carving, right? So, you know, here's your side view, and here's your front view, for example, and let's say we were doing a bird out of this piece of foam. All right, so the side view would be the head and the beak, right? The head and the beak, and then, you know, some kind of neck in here, right? And then the body. We'll put the wings on him later, but let's say that's the body, right? Going back into the tail, okay? So that's the side view, and we block out the side view, right? Let's give him an eye so he can see what's going on. All right. So there's his eye, and then you have the top view, right? The top view. So here's the front line, right? That's the front line where his beak is going to, and we're going to come back to that, and we're going to meet that, and we're going to draw his beak out here. You know, how wide do you want his beak to be? Well, that's up to you. That's your decision, okay? And then we know the head. We know the head lives right in here somewhere, right? We know that, right? And obviously his neck's not going to be that big, but he's going to have, you know, he's going to have a kind of a skinny neck, right? And then his body, right? His body's going to be right in here somewhere. Okay. Back into his tail. Okay. He might even be able to get his whole, you know, his whole tail out of this piece, depending on, you know, how you do it. Okay. So, and maybe on this guy, you know, maybe on this guy you could get part of his wing end on this side, for example. You know, he's gonna have some feathers here. Okay, that part's going to go away. That part's going to go away. We're going to cut all this away, for example. Okay. All right, so that's what I mean by you could block all of this out on one big piece of foam, right? You could do your side view, draw it out. You could do your front view and draw it out like we did the bird, right? Side view, front view. Side view, front view. On this one, you got a narrow profile, top of body. So you got two sides there you're looking at. And you certainly could do that, right? That is definitely an option. And I have done pieces that way before, where I do that, right? And you just start taking away foam from that drawing, okay? Because you're looking at it and you know where things are, right? The bird's got a beak. It's going into its head. And you just start taking that foam away and you cut it out. And you get rid of your big stuff, right? There, the shape of his body's starting to take place. You got his wing right here. You got his tail feathers back here. Okay, so the whole thing starts to come together, take shape, take form. You certainly can do this process. Some people want to do a complete artist rendering and a sketch, right? Before they, start doing whatever project they're doing. And like I said before, that is perfectly acceptable. Sometimes you have to show someone a drawing, right? And they go, oh yeah, I like that. No, I don't like that. Change this, blah, blah, blah. All of those things. But yeah, so that's just, really, really brief example of blocking it out of one piece of foam as opposed to doing little pieces at a time. Side view, top view, and then just cutting it out. All right. There was a puppet that I did for a show. He was done that way, right? He's built off of a, one of those cheap toys that's like, a dinosaur head or an alligator head you can buy like at a tourist attraction or somewhere nicer like Stuckey's. Hello, Stephanie Stuckey. Send me some free pecan rolls, okay? Not a paid advertisement, just a shameless plug for something I love, okay? So, anyways, so this bird was built off of that process of blocking something out, building it, to work, and, giving it some movement in its mouth. He is not young and spry like he once was, but that's an example of doing that. Just another process, another way that you can do something, right? okay? In life and art, there are a lot of ways to get to where you want to go on a build like this. Not always the case in other aspects of your life. There are other aspects of your life that there is only one way to do it. A good example of that is mixing platinum silicone, for example. You cannot do that however you want to do it and have it turn out correctly. There is only one way to mix platinum silicone, and if you don't do it that one way, in the proper way, then your end result at the end of the day, right, will be a total and complete and utter failure. No way around that. You just can't do it your way, that process. And there's lots of processes in life that are like that. You have to do it that one way. You can't do it the way you want to do it. You have to conform to the rules, the instructions, and the, you're working with the, you're working with physics, right? On that example with platinum silicone, you're working with chemistry, rather. Sorry, not physics, chemistry. It is a process, and it's a one-way process, not a multiple routes to the end. It's only got the one process. Here we have flexibility, which is a good thing, but is not always the case. All right. So the gap here is maybe a little bit of a bigger gap than I wanted to meet these two pieces together, right? So I'm gonna cut a wedge. I'm gonna cut a wedge to go right in there, okay? Trying to find that perfect piece of scrap to do that, because we've got it. We just have to find it, okay? So this one might be it. It's your lucky day. Come on down. You're the next contestant on Build a Monkey. Sorry. Here, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to trim the top part because I want this to fit in underneath it nicely like that. Okay? Then I'm going to go in here and trim the back side of this piece. And I'm using this as filler, right? Clean this edge up a little bit on the curve. Yeah, that's going to work. I'm going to do that just like that. All right. I'm still going to trim, well, maybe not. I'm going to put some latex on the back of this piece. Ooh, smell that hot glue gun. Wow. Stuff's really pouring out. not literally, but just figuratively, the smell, right? Okay. Um, Once again, please, 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 whatever workspace you have, whatever work area you have, please, 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 let it be a good ventilated workspace. Please don't be doing this in, a closet, for example, with no ventilation. Or, some people have a workbench that's, I don't know, in a small apartment above their bed because that's the space that they have. Like I said, make sure it's well ventilated. Okay, and as you're working in the area you're working in, crying out loud, clean up after yourself. Don't just make a big huge mess and just leave it. It's perfectly acceptable to do that if you have to for a while, but you're gonna want a clean. Excuse me, while I eat some potato chips. A clean, neat working environment. So you can find what you're looking for easily, it's organized, and you don't have to get up from your workbench and keep walking away. Okay. Should have put some more latex on this. When I was doing it, I did not, but that's all right. I think we've got enough here to get us to where we are wanting to be, at least initially. So. You see how that's starting to fill that area in, and we've brought this piece that we cut down into this previous neck jaw area, and we've started to blend that in with what's already there. And if you look, it's hard to tell in this case where that line is. Okay, so All right. Well, still a ways to go, and still things to do. Certainly not finished by any means, but it is, it is a process. It's not, it's not one and done. It takes time. It takes some effort, and it takes some hard work. It's not, not something that happens overnight. It happens over a course of time. I've done mask where the sculpt takes 40 hours. Some of you know that is, an okay time. It's not necessarily a great time. I'm not speedy like some people out there sure do, who can, whop something together really, really quickly. Here he is with his temporary ears as a placeholder. Jonathan Latham out for now. Hope you have a great day, and go out and make something.